This is the Dery Brothers Tribecast, a podcast for diehard Cleveland Indians fans. Presented to you by WaitingForNextYear.com. Now, here are the hosts, Matt and Todd Dery.
And we're back, everybody. Another edition, another installment of the Dery Brothers Tribecast right here on WaitingForNextYear.com. Matt and Todd with you. Thank you for listening. And we're talking about the team, the Indians, and actual games that took place over the weekend. Todd, weird not seeing you in the stadium and not hearing, all the trials and tribulations of your time down at Progressive Field, playing in front of nobody. The Indians take 2 out of 3 from the Royals. We'll get into a lot of the things that took place over the weekend. It was just great to have baseball back, and the fellas looked pretty good.
It really gave me a sense of normalcy. Like, it just felt, for those 3 hours, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, it just felt like, all was well in the world, for those 3 hours. It was really a welcome, they say sports is a welcome distraction, and I had never used to buy that because sports is such a big part of my life and yours as well. But really, truly, to be able to turn on that game Friday night and Saturday, at 5 o'clock and Sunday afternoon and just break away from everything for those 3 hours was such a pleasure. And, yesterday afternoon when they were up, 8-2 or whatever it was, I took Coco for a little walk and I threw on my AirPods and put Hammy on, and I was listening to Hammy call a real game, and it just felt normal again. So I was just thrilled to be able to watch baseball and have our normal text chain and executive producer Jeremy and actually talk about baseball and not,
I know.
Whatever we talk about.
It was nice. And, we're brought to you, of course, by Dr. Ben Hornstein, the Center for Advanced Dentistry. We'll get into a little rotation domination. The lineup, Jose Ramirez hitting in the 2-hole, all this platooning going on in the outfield. We got to talk about the latest with, unfortunately, and of course, it's the state of Florida and the Florida Marlins or the Miami Marlins or whatever that single A outfit is called, that it could be ruining everything with 14 players and personnel testing positive for coronavirus. We'll get into that as well. By the way, you mentioned before about Tom Hamilton and throwing him on the earbuds there yesterday. What is with some Hammy hate on Twitter over the weekend? What is wrong with people?
I told you there's a small but the silent majority. No, I'm just kidding. There's a small group of people that do not like him, and they think he's get off my lawn guy and whatever. I mean, Hammy, I love the guy. He can do no wrong, in my opinion. I love him no matter what, and I've been listening to him since he started in with Herb back in the 90s, and it's just he's the voice of Cleveland Indians baseball to me. It's just that's how it is, and you can. I understand people think that he's not, maybe analytical enough, or he has his analytical enough, or he has, he has his pet people that he loves and organizations that he loves, like he loves the Royals, and then he has people that he can't stand, and he goes all the way in after, which I love about him.
Yeah, that makes him.
You'll never convince me that Hammy's not great, and I know you feel the same.
I do, and I think he's genuine. If you watch some of these TV announcers from other teams, or even listen to the radio, sometimes they don't get excited for the other team ever. They're complete shills and homers. They're screaming, sounding like high school announcers. And when the other team does something, it's like, oh, fly ball and gone. And it's like, no, if another team's player makes a spectacular play, he gets excited. He likes exciting baseball, and he paints the picture, and that's what you're looking for. No one says he's got to be down the middle and neutral, but my goodness, I noticed some of that over the weekend. But with that being said, Todd, the Indians take 2 out of 3 from the Royals. I don't know where you want to start. I mean, look, every starting pitcher that the Indians trotted out, Friday with Shane Bieber, Saturday with Mike Clevenger, despite the first inning hiccup, and then yesterday with Carlos Carrasco, whose breaking ball was just absolutely filthy. That slider was just swing and miss all over the place. As advertised, the Indian starters did the job.
I'll tell you what, if the Indians are going to win this division, and we've said this before, it's going to be on the backs of their starting pitching. And this weekend, on both sides, you could see, I'm talking with both the Indians and their two main rivals in the division, who in the Twins and the White Sox, you could just see the difference there. So our starting pitching this weekend went 19 innings, allowed only 13 hits, 30 Ks, and 2 walks. Okay? And that's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. And, all three of them, Clevenger had the first inning where he gave up 2 runs, didn't give up another run after that. Bieber went 6 scoreless, 1 walk, 14 Ks, no runs. And Carrasco gave up 2 runs in 6 innings yesterday, and his slider and changeup were working yesterday. Woof.
Well, I see you working.
Yeah, he looked terrific. And what was nice was the fact that, the Indians didn't hit in those first 2 games. Yesterday they broke out a little bit. But they're never going to be out of a game if the offense sputters because the pitching is so good. Now, obviously, this is your top 3, and we got to see what we have in Plesac and Aaron Savali in the next 2 games against the White Sox. But they were both – Plesac and Savali were both very impressive in both spring training and the summer camp. And I'm expecting big things out of them too. But you look at what the White Sox and the Twins pitching look like this weekend.
Ooh, baby.
I mean, the Twins scored 10 twice against the White Sox. Giolito got lit up for the White Sox. Ronaldo Lopez didn't get out of the first. They brought in Gio Gonzalez yesterday. He gave up 5 runs in the second. The Twins trotted out Randy Dobnak on Saturday as their number 2 starter with Jake Odorizzi injured. Jose Barrios was not sharp again, and he wasn't sharp basically from the All-Star break on yesterday. And, look at the back end of the Twins rotation. Rich Hill, Homer Bailey.
Tribe killer, Homer Bailey.
Yeah, that's true. Not impressed. Not impressed.
No.
Yes, those 2 teams are going to mash, but the Tribe starting pitching is far superior to what the White Sox and Twins put out there. And as we know, 9 times out of 10, especially come playoff baseball and pennant race baseball, it's always pitching. Good pitching always outdoes good hitting.
It does, and we can sit here and talk about Saturday's game, and we'll get into that and the whole extra the extra innings, runner on second base rule, and everything else. But execution wasn't flawless this weekend, but the starting pitching was, and like you mentioned, now the White Sox come to town, and we'll get you the matchups and give you the whole week of what it looks like with the White Sox and Twins now for the next 7 games. That starting pitching is going to have to sustain. I mean, the Indians caught a few breaks. The Royals are a little bit banged up. They got guys sidelined with the virus, including Hunter Dozier, who always seems to mash, and that lineup looks a lot different with him hitting fourth than Alex Gordon, who's a shell of himself. But those top 3 are pretty darn good. Merrifield kills us, and when the Indians starters needed to make big pitches, they did that, and I like the Indians' chances a lot when they're pitching like that, and certainly the offense can be better. Bullpen Todd wasn't bad. You can't fault Karinchak for Saturday. I mean, he inherited a runner on second base in his second inning of work, and hung a pitch to Franco for a sac fly. But other than that, Nick Wickren looked good. I mean, the bullpen was fine, and now, like we said, the ultimate test will be this week with the White Sox and Twins, a couple of softball teams that the Indians will be playing.
The bullpen didn't give up any runs this weekend. I mean, Karinchak's was unearned, obviously, but Oliver Perez came in yesterday. It was in his first outing. It became it's in his 18th season now, the longest, most tenured Mexican player in baseball history, which is very cool. And he came in, got 3 outs, 2 via strikeout. Whitgren looked great on Friday night. Speaking of which, I'm over Friday night. I'm watching the game at executive producer Jeremy's patio, and we're outside and we're watching the game. And it was the 8th inning. It was 2-0. Whitgren records this big strikeout in the 8th, and I was like, in my head for a split second, I'm like, why is the crowd so quiet? That was such a big strikeout. Yeah,
I know it is weird. Was there anybody pop in Friday night at Jeremy's house?
No, that's reserved for Sundays at the pool. Yeah. the bullpen was good. Hand put the first guy on there in the ninth, and I know what you were thinking, the same thing I was thinking. And I think I texted you this in about the seventh inning. I was like, Hand better not blow this game. But luckily he did his job, and everybody looked pretty good. Cam Hill, great to see him get an inning yesterday. 1, 2, 3, ninth. These guys they're gonna mix and match, and it's interesting. This is how you know that Tito is really trying to figure this stuff out. We had Andre Knott on last week, on Tuesday of last week.
We did
before the final roster was decided on. And one of the things he said was, he's like, I think James Hoyt is going to get a chance to be one of the big guys, because he is in the past has thrown very hard, high 90s, and he's a veteran, and they think they want to, he might deserve that first shot. And then we talked about Hunter Wood, and then literally the next day they were both cut. And what I really liked was that the Indians in normal seasons, and I tweeted this during the week too. In a normal season, Cam Hill's not making this team, and Daniel Johnson is not getting that call instead of when
right, because Tito always goes veterans first out of the gate.
Yes, and the fact that they chose to go with those guys really tells me a lot about their thinking, and they want to know, can these young guys help us now? And I like that. Daniel Johnson activated that. They threw him right in there that first game and started. Why not? Right? Give him a shot. Cam Hill got an inning in yesterday. These guys are all going to be key, if and when the season, continues and goes on. But I really like the organizational thinking that way, especially on the pen arms, because as you and I know, every year they usually find someone that has been a DFA type, or spring or someone they claim, and it's really like every year we talked about it. It was like in 13 it was Matt Albers that they got in a trade. In 14 I think it was Atchison. I can't remember 15. 16 was Otero. Who am I forgetting? Whitgren was last year, but every year there was always one. Oliver Perez was the year before. They always find that one guy.
And that's the beauty of our system. And who needs a minor league system? But we always have somebody. You're right, that they find something wrong with, or they pick up a guy like you said off the scrap heap. We're missing.
Dominic Leone is that guy this year.
Right,
like he's the one guy that they kept.
Who are we missing? We're missing somebody else, and we mentioned him last week. Oh gosh, why is it like on the tip of my tongue? He was just here recently, last couple of years as a reliever. Last year was Whitgren. The year before was Oliver Perez. It was the Neil and Ollie show. Too good.
Neil Ramirez.
Yeah, Neil Ramirez was one for a little while. Right, but that we can, and that's why you never know with bullpens. You never know. Edwin Diaz was this hot, unbelievable, hard-throwing prospect in Seattle. Comes up, throws 100, and is amazing. Somehow with the Mets, he's a complete gas can. So you never know. You do never know. I mean, Mark Lowe got a multi-year deal from an unnamed team. I'm not going to upset Jeremy and
Thank you.
So. You know what I'm saying? So you never know.
It was Nick Goody. That was the guy.
Well, no, Goody was one, but who was it? There was one other one. Over the last couple of years, I think he was on the 2016 team. Oh, come on.
2016 was Otero. Wasn't that that was his first year?
But there was another right-handed pitcher.
Manship.
Thank you, Jeff Manship. Yeah. Right. I mean, just DFA'd other places, and you're like, why is he on the team? And then it got some big outs. Because I think the Indians have always been a good organization in working with some of these guys and finding an issue here or there, whether it's mechanically, and turning them around. But no, so far so good. I mean, look, Saturday, let's get into it, Todd. I mean, many people, including Clevenger and others on social media, they were pissed at how that game ended. And, of course, anytime the Indians lose, people are going to be upset. But I for one am with you. That putting a runner on second base rule is Harry High School, and it's minor league at best. But the Indians didn't execute, and that game should never have gotten to extra innings. The ninth inning at bats, including the Mercado one, and then Roberto Perez, who's all of a sudden now he's always at his best when he's going the other way. His foot and head are in the bucket, and he's swinging at everything down the left field line rather than taking it the other way. That's what cost him, not the 10th inning and an extra runner being on base. I mean, that's to me, the Indians should have won that game in regulation.
Yes. I mean, the truth of the matter is they did not deserve to win after not coming through when they had multiple chances in the 9th and the 10th. Now, let's just talk about the rule for a second. The game ends. By the way, I went to the I took a TV and a Roku stick, put it outside on the deck, which will become my new Tribe summer evening viewing.
Oh, how's that working out?
Dude, it was great. That deck's gotten more run than LeBron James and the 2016 Cavs, but this summer. So, anyways, I'm watching the game. We lose. 5 minutes go by, and my phone rings, and it's Les Levine, the great Les Levine, our buddy. And Les says to me, "This is the dumbest rule in the history of sports. I can't fathom that I am watching this." Les is like us. He's an old baseball guy, right? I mean, the fact that the Royals won that game, I mean, again,
without an official at bat, at the top of the 10th.
It was a ghost runner on second, which is a joke, followed by a bunt, which everyone who listens to this podcast and follows me on Twitter knows how I feel about bunting, and a sac fly. I mean, really? And there should be no losing pitcher. I mean, listen, wins and losses and saves, at this point, it's all stupid. But how could James Karinchak be the losing pitcher when he didn't
do anything wrong? Right. He didn't. I mean, he hung a breaking ball for a sac fly. That's his bad, but he got an out. I mean, it's just, and then a walk and then a caught stealing. It's crazy to think that for an entire half inning there wasn't a single official at bat in the in the box score. It is stupid, and those two teams pitched very well. The Royals bullpen did the job. Greg Holland looks like he's back. Give Kansas City credit that they look like they're when they get healthy, they're going to be better than people think. And the kid on Saturday that pitched, Brady Singer, their first round pick, is really good from 2 years ago. And hopefully he gets a victory against the unnamed team on Wednesday. But that's neither here nor there. That was a good baseball game. Let it just keep going. Now we're changing it up and we're adding like you said, a ghost runner. And then here in the bottom of the 10th, Tito, who bunts and bunts and bunts some more, doesn't bunt, which is it's almost like he went to the bathroom and they had like a robot manager for a second.
But here's my thing, like. It's actually, I was very surprised at how few people were like, "I can't believe he's not bunting." That I talked to. You're still playing to win. If you bunt, you're playing to tie the game, which is stupid. And then you go back to that stupid thing again, where in the next inning they put a man on second base again. I hated the whole thing. The bottom line here is it's a ridiculous rule. If this becomes commonplace, we have to live with it this year. But if this becomes commonplace, then baseball's really lost its way. But as you said, it comes down to this. 9th inning, the Indians load the bases against the great Scott Barlow, and Oscar and Roberto struck out. I mean, all you need is a sac fly there. And then in the 10th inning, you had, Zimmer get hit by the pitch after the ghost runner was put on first. And then you have two on.
Nobody out.
To win the game with nobody out for your 1, 2, 3 hitters in Cesar Hernandez, Jose Ramirez, and Frankie, and all three struck out. So you can't say you didn't have your chance.
And I'll say this too. I mean the strikeouts, and it's not just the Indians. Some of the other games I was watching this weekend. I mean, I know this has been going on for the last couple years, but it's crazy. The ball's just not being put in play, and it sucks. It definitely sucks because it is a fun game to watch when there's action. But Trevor Bauer struck out 13 yesterday and lost. So it's wild. We're going to get into the lineup. We got to talk about Jose Ramirez a little bit. Frankie and Santana off to a slow start. And then, are we even going to have a full season? But first, Todd, you got to tell us about Dr. Ben. The folks at Center for Advanced Dentistry have got to be ecstatic that sports are back.
Yes, they are. As you know, they're big Tribe fans, and Dr. Ben was texting me over the weekend about the Tribe, and Dr. Ben also not a fan of the rules. So if you ever want to go in, get your teeth cleaned, have some professional work done, whether you might need a crown or root canal or whatever, and while you're getting that crown or root canal, you want to talk about how much you hate bunting or how stupid the new extra inning rule is, go check out Dr. Ben Hornstein at the Center for Advanced Dentistry over there in Orange Place. Again, they have great new protocols. They are completely safe and doing a great job over there, and they're great people. Best dentists you're going to find, especially on the east side here. Check them out at cfad.net or at CFAD Beechwood on Twitter. The Center for Advanced Dentistry, and the great Dr. Ben Hornstein, who I will be seeing next week when I get my teeth cleaned.
I heard a rumor that cousin Matt Goodwin will be flying in from Seattle just to see Dr. Ben Hornstein. Any truth to that?
I don't think cousin Matt's jumping on a plane. He's too smart for that.
Hey, but he would do it if we could. All right, Matt.
He would do it for the Indians also. He loves his tribe.
Yes, he does. Matt and Todd Dery, this is the Dery Brothers Tribecast, waitingfornextyear.com. If you missed last week with Andre Knott, please find us, Apple Podcasts, Google, wherever you find your podcast, Spotify, and listen back to that. Tribe takes 2 out of 3 from the Royals. Yesterday was a nice little, it was just nice to kick back and have a little bit of a rout rather than those, Friday and Saturday were like, nail biting, the usual routine. I texted you Friday. I'm like, I can't do this. It was going to be 60 more games, 60 games in 66 days or whatever it is of me losing my shit. But it's just like,
I believe you texted me at one point, I'm shaking during game 1.
Well, that's normal. That's just normal behavior. But at least during the games, I'm fine otherwise. I feel like I'm cleaner than the Board of Health. But
like Johnny Walker. Yes.
Great to see Jose yesterday break out, and he's hit some balls hard, homering from both sides of the plate. The 2-hole, you never really thought about it in the past with him. Like he's hit third, he's hit fifth. Trying to think of when he first came up. I think he was near the bottom of the order, right? When he first came up, and it was kind of a surprise.
Before he became like a real hitter, yeah. But in 2016, he was hitting fifth, wasn't he?
Yeah. After Napoli.
The right-handed power bat?
I miss him. I miss Party in Napoli's. I don't miss everything that went with it and some of the self-promoting that went on.
Have you seen his beard, by the way?
I have not.
He's got a fierce beard right now working. But anyways, back to J-Ram. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I like what I'm seeing. I think he's seeing more pitches. He and Cesar Hernandez at the top were very, very selective. And then Santana and Lindor and Carlos 3 and 4 were not. But hopefully after yesterday, it's getting a little bit better. But no, those two guys at the top can really wear out a pitching staff.
I got a text yesterday from Ags, and he was saying how Jose really has his swagger in full midseason form. Like after he struggled, we probably didn't make the playoffs last year because he struggled so badly until he found himself and then got hurt. But when he's going, he's a top 5 player in the game. He is. You can't tell me he's not one of the 5 best hitters in baseball when he is going the way he's going.
Well, no, he's awesome. People just don't know who he is. That's the problem.
But he is so freaking good. And when he is going and having someone in front of him in Cesar Hernandez, who's, like you said, so selective, his at-bats, other than that 9th inning at-bat.
I know. He picked the worst time to have the worst at-bat.
Yeah, other than that, his at-bats have been really good. I'm actually very surprised at, again, it's been 3 regular season games plus the 2 games I watched, those preseason games or exhibition games. But I'm just very surprised that he was just out there and available for $6 million. He looks really good to me. He's good in the field. His hands are really quick. I will love Jason Kipnis forever. He'll go down as one of a Tribe great, and I bet when the further removed we get from from the Jason Kipnis time, the more we will look back on him fondly. But Kip was not exactly the greatest at turning double plays quickly, and especially in the last few years. Cesar Hernandez gets that ball out really, really fast.
Oh, he's a good player. He is. And he's durable. He'll be out there every day. I mean, the right side of the infield will basically be out there every day, you know. You're going to have to rest.
The whole infield. Those four guys will play. Those four guys will be in the lineup. I bet if God willing, they play 60 games. I bet one way or another it'll be 60 games. And from what I think Andre Knott said this on the broadcast yesterday, but he's going to try to work these guys all around like the DH spot if they can, to get him a day off here and there. So like yesterday, Jose DH, so he could get Yu Chang some at bats. It wouldn't shock me if one day Frankie is DHing or and Chang played short, or they make Hernandez or the second baseman and Freeman plays second for a day, or Freeman plays whatever it might be. So it's a good. The good news is when you have four guys that you can depend on like that, it's wonderful. It's just you got to mix somehow. They got to figure out a way to get these bench guys ABs, because you never know, especially with COVID, when they're going to be needed.
I didn't even see. Did Arroyo get in or no? I know Freeman.
Yes, but he came in. He did not get an at bat, but he came in.
Okay.
Coco's barking.
Wow, that's real life right there.
Coco doesn't like Christian Arroyo. Apparently, you said Christian Arroyo's name, and she started to bark. yeah. No, but getting back to it, Jose is so good. He looked, especially yesterday. He just looks. He has that confidence going right now, which he lost before last year. Early in the season, that was really missing. The guy we really got to get going. Frankie and Carlos really got to get going. Frankie went the other way for that RBI double, which was good. But the Friday and Saturday night, he did not look great. He also made a base running. Our base running so far, I don't know even Domingo Santana yesterday, like the ball's right in front of you. Why are you trying to go for two and end the inning? Like, just stay where you are. I know it.
Stupid.
It was crazy. And then Carlos didn't get a hit all weekend either, but at least yesterday he walked twice. But he'll be fine. I am not the least bit concerned there. And then let's talk about the outfield a little bit. The outfield. This weekend we saw a lot of different mixing and matching of combinations and lots of guys getting at bats. And once again, I got to give them credit, because when you and I talked all winter about the outfield and what we were going to do and why aren't they signing Puig and all this stuff, in the end, you made a $1 million ad in Domingo Santana, who. Yes, he's a butcher in the field. Went 3 for 3 yesterday. Looked very good at the plate all weekend. And then, with the surprise return of Bradley Zimmer, you got lots of options that are working out there.
No, and Santana, Domingo Santana, he's got to be in the lineup tonight. You're facing a right-hander in Cease. I know that there's a lefty on Tuesday, but keep his bat in there. He was hot yesterday. He hit the ball well, saw the ball well. Let him play again. I don't necessarily think it's I guess in the first couple days, yes, you're platooning a little bit, and you want to get Luplow an opportunity. You want to get all these guys opportunities, but you gotta ride the hot guys, and hopefully Domingo Santana's day on Sunday yesterday will propel him to continue to do this. I mean, there's so many things we could nitpick at, but the bottom line is they still took 2 out of 3. You got to win series. This division's not going to be easy. The White Sox and Twins showed over the weekend that they can mash, and now you're playing those teams right away. So I think, too, the big thing, and we got to get into this, is, what's going to happen today. Already we're seeing Yankees and Phillies postponed today. Marlins game postponed down in Miami against the Orioles because of COVID. 14 Marlins have, reportedly tested positive, which should not be a big surprise. The state of Florida is an embarrassment, and how they've handled this virus. And these teams that are down there, whether it's the Rays and Marlins, there was going to be an outbreak. The question is, where would it start? And apparently it's with the Marlins. But, Todd, if this virus is ravaging through a team and 14 guys are out. Now, I know they have minor leaguers and everything's supposed to be ready, but what the heck's going to happen here?
I just don't know. This has the potential to blow up badly. I mean, the reason why the NBA is going to work is because it's a bubble, and these guys aren't going except for Jamal Crawford when, Magic City. But
Lou Williams, you mean?
Or Lou, yeah. Who did I say?
Jamal Crawford?
Yes. Why did I say Jamal Crawford?
I don't know. I think he's on the Clippers, isn't he?
You know why? Because Jamal Crawford and Lou Williams are the exact same player.
Well,
Lou Williams is younger.
Yes, that's true.
They're both, gets mine kind of offensive players who play no defense. So, yeah. So, sorry, back to the original.
Those wings at Magic City in Atlanta must be pretty good.
$150,000 for wings, apparently, in the fine. So in the meantime, I truly believe
Coco barking when we're talking about a strip club.
I'm sorry.
No, that's his real radio right here.
I can't shut her up. I don't know. She shouldn't be barking. I don't know what she's barking at.
Magic City.
Anyways, it was going to happen one way or another. I just was hoping it wasn't going to be this early. But now it just kind of comes down to this. How do they handle it, and how do they shut these things down? Because are you really just going to allow the Marlins to travel? I mean, these guys have all been together in a room in the clubhouse. I don't care if they've been socially distanced or not. They're being reckless. How do you control it? And how do you then let them play in another team? Or what about the Yankees that are going into the visiting clubhouse of the Marlins, of the Phillies, where the Marlins just were? I don't know how they handle it.
These quotes from Don Mattingly and Miguel Rojas, their shortstop, we decided to play yesterday. No.
Don Mattingly is a pompous douche.
But what's the protocol?
Don't take risks. Oh, shut up.
I know. What's the protocol? That's where Manfred again has got to step in. If 4 or 5 guys in that clubhouse test positive, you're going to go out and play on Sunday, and then other guys are sick. To me, that's when you shut it down for a second and go, you know what? Sunday's game will be canceled. They're going to play the Phillies again. They're in the same division as them. So, my gosh, I mean, Mattingly and Rojas made the call. Sweet. God, that's stupid. That's just stupid.
Yeah. I don't understand it either. I mean, shouldn't each team have some sort of health official, right, that makes that call?
I would think so. Or there's something in the language of the CBA that was put together before the season that there's a protocol there.
How about here's another thing I'd like to know. Did they tell the other team what was going on?
Of course not. So they played.
I mean,
right.
No, I mean,
those Phillies tests, right? When the Phillies get tested today, that ought to be interesting, because where are they going next? They're going to play the Yankees. So
yeah, they're going to play the Yankees.
Right. So if the Marlins infect the Phillies,
go ahead.
No, if the Marlins infect the Phillies infect the Yankees, then what? I mean, are we going to? Shit.
This is my point.
Is stupid.
If they knew that they had players that had COVID and they had been with them, why wouldn't they all be forced to wear masks and just say, you know what, as a team, we're wearing masks the whole time?
Right, because as we've seen, Cesar Hernandez, Frankie, others are wearing them the whole game.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that – it doesn't seem that – when you're a baseball player, it can't be that big of a – it's not like the NBA where they're running up and down the court. These guys are standing a lot. So when you're when you're batting, wear a mask. When you're standing on first base next to the first baseman, wear a mask. That should have been part of the protocol.
Who was the player yesterday? Was it Derek Holland of the Giants got ejected and he was in the stands? Because they're
is that what that was?
Yeah, because they're distancing. So some players are sitting like a progressive. Some of the players are in the suites. And Derek Holland was actually in the stands yelling at the ump, and the ump ejected him.
Oh my God,
that's a good Giants club, by the way. Ooh, baby. There's some bad.
They're really bad.
They are bad.
They were on national TV twice because they were playing the Dodgers. I don't know about you, by the way. I watched more baseball this weekend than probably any weekend I've ever can remember.
I did. Oh yeah. We had Arizona and the Padres on FS1 Saturday night. My kids, had a little late night dinner, and we're sitting there watching Padres and D-backs, the Friars.
On Saturday afternoon, I had a little Buccos Cards going on MLB Network. And Saturday after the Indians game, I just flipped over to the Yankees and Nationals. I was on MLB Network a ton. It was. You know what else was great? I watch SportsCenter. I haven't watched much SportsCenter, obviously, because there's no reason to. Watching baseball highlights all in a row on SportsCenter, I was like, you know what? I can't believe how much that I really, it's like such a big part of your life, and then all of a sudden it's completely gone, and you like forget. And I was worried. I'm not saying I was worried, but I was thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe I don't need sports so much. I figured this out. But now that football was back,
don't overthink this.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and I hope they're able to continue. But with this Marlins story coming out this morning, I have my doubts.
Who's I don't even know who anchors like the Sunday night Sports Center. Like who was on?
It was Kenny Mayne and John Anderson.
All right, so those are names you know. I know the other day they were talking about Zubin Mehenti's getting this radio show, and I don't even know who that is. Like I know him now because I looked, but at the time when they announced it, I think he and Keyshawn Johnson and Jay Williams were teaming up to do the new morning show on ESPN Radio. I was just like, wait, who? I didn't even know who he was. Like, gosh, we knew all the anchors.
So Zubin Mehenti's been there a long time, but he basically became the new Adnan when Adnan was fired.
Yes.
Adnan, that would have been Adnan's job.
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
For sure.
Boy, the great Adnan Burke. He's
he's a friend of the show.
What he's doing right now. Friend of the show. Yeah, he was the guy. I mean, he used to fill in on the radio all the time with Russillo, and he was doing college sports and baseball, and I think Zubin's doing all that stuff. So,
gotcha. But
from all accounts, everyone says he's like the greatest guy ever, and everyone loves him. So that's good. But really, the Sports Center, the 11 o'clock Sports Center, was Van Pelt moved from midnight to 11 during the pandemic because they had nothing to do. It's still Van Pelt and John Anderson and Kenny Mayne, but other than that, it's I can't say that I really watch much SportsCenter or watch SportsCenter anymore. I mean, what's the point? If I want to watch highlights, usually I'll just pull them up on my phone or computer or iPad. But it was just good to be able to get last night at 11. I went over to ESPN2 because the baseball game was a blowout, and I was like, oh man! And it was you know what the lead story was on SportsCenter last night?
I saw your tweet, Carrasco. Yeah. How about
Carlos
that?
Carrasco's return, which I loved seeing.
I wish
for him. Such a great dude. Nobody deserves it more. It's just such a wonderful thing.
I wish SVP would have Bill Self on. He's never on SportsCenter. That dude's on all the time. We're checking in with Bill Self. Bill, what are you doing? Oh, hey, Scott.
Because he's the greatest.
Yeah, that's right. Brought you a national championship.
That's right. Don't forget it.
All right, so let's look at this week. I've
the pitching matchups. Do some work.
There you go. You look at this. First of all, I was listening yesterday driving on Sirius, the White Sox post-game show with Mark Carman. I don't know if you know who that is, but
in relation to Kenny.
No, and Ken Carman's a better broadcaster too. But Mark was talking about the White Sox, and he's like, Dylan Cease tomorrow. Dylan Cease this. I mean, they were talking about Dylan Cease like he was the second coming of Randy Johnson. So he pitches tonight. So the Indians and the White Sox for 3. So it's Savali and Dylan Cease tonight. Zach Plesac and Carlos Rodon on Tuesday. And then a pair of...
about Carlos Rodon, by the way.
What's that?
I feel like he's not that old. I feel like he's been on the White Sox for 100 years.
Well, I mean, we've heard him. The hype's been there, and then he was.
Because he came up. I think he came up the year he was drafted. He was college.
He's pretty good. I mean, the Indians usually have trouble with him, and then of course he had Tommy John last year, and probably wouldn't even have pitched this year. But now with the delay and with coronavirus, he's back. But he's pitching tomorrow. And then the pair of aces, Bieber and Giolito on Wednesday. So they'll see 2 right-handers. And Reynaldo Lopez got hurt yesterday. He's going to be out for a little while. He only lasted 1 inning. And I love it. They said, well, they were interviewing him after the game on this White Sox show, and he had an interpreter. Basically, he felt his arm didn't feel right in warm-ups. And he's like, I'll stay out there. And then he got bashed for 4 runs, and then they finally took him out. So... but White Sox have some issues. And then Thursday, 4 games in Minnesota. Clevenger, Barrios on Thursday. Carrasco, Dobnak on Friday. Savali and Kenta Maeda on Saturday, and then Zach Plesac and Homer Bailey on Sunday. So only left-hander we'll see in the whole week is Rodon. But, I used to always dread when the Indians would have to face lefties. Not that, although Danny Duffy did a pretty good job.
Not anymore, man.
But the Indians have plenty of balance in that lineup. So nothing that really stands out or is spectacular. But I'm interested in seeing how Barrios looks and if he bounces back. And bottom line is these two teams the Indians are playing this week, if the Indians have an off day pitching, forget it. I mean, these, this is where rubber meets the road. God, I sound like Matt Underwood. Johnny on the spot. Rubber meets the road.
Dirty dozen.
Oh, my God. He had 13 strikeouts, and he called it a dirty dozen. Like, no, that's 12.
The baker's dozen, right?
Right.
And you know what? Is that still a thing? I haven't been into a bakery to pick up a dozen of anything.
I know.
God knows how much.
Oh, Rick, he really picks them up and puts them down, Rick. He can really run.
I'll say this about the White Sox. While their pitching is very suspect, and that lineup, first of all, Tim Anderson, he's one of my favorite players.
Oh, he's a badass. He's a badass.
Moncada, when the Red Sox traded Moncada, the Chris Sale trade, and they traded Moncada to the White Sox for Chris Sale. Moncada was the number one prospect in baseball. And he finally, last year, broke out, and he's a total stud. Jose Abreu kills the Indians. Edwin still can go deep, obviously. He's still got that power. Eloy Jimenez is hitting fifth, right?
Yeah.
Luis Robert is hitting seventh. And he's the number one, he's probably number one or number two prospect in the game, too. So,
dude, he's scary. Like, I watched a little bit of him this weekend. Like, he hit a home run. Yeah, and he's a big guy that can run. Like, excuse me, his
center field.
Yeah, his defense out in center is good too. He's really good.
Yeah, that both the Twins and the White Sox, those lineups are so deep. But Dallas Keuchel is, at this point he's a middle of the rotation guy, and they need him to be better. Giolito was awesome last year. First start he got lit up, and we'll see what happens if he can make his be better. Rodon kind of is what he is at this point. Reynaldo Lopez is, whatever. And
he's hurt now.
Gonzalez is, how that guy's been around, as long as he has is pretty amazing, considering every game he pitches is 5 innings and he walks 4 guys. I'll tell you another person I did not know was still in the majors and is back on the White Sox this year is Ross Detweiler.
Yeah.
How is that guy still in the majors?
He
10 years ago.
He's an innings eater.
Please. And you know who else they have? Another ex-Tribe great, Evan Marshall.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Calvin Herrera. All in that bullpen. I got to get my...
We used to destroy Herrera when he was on the White Sox, and he was getting to everybody. We used to always beat him. We never could hit Wade Davis, but we always could hit Herrera.
Where did he go to... He was in Kansas City forever. Did he go to Oakland first on the White Sox?
No, he was Washington Nationals for 1 year.
Oh, that's right.
He got hurt. He signed a big contract. He got hurt, and then he went to the White Sox.
Well, this should be fun this week. What do we got? 2 7-10 games and a 6-10 game. These next 3, is that right? Wednesday's games at 6. Does it really matter what time it starts? I mean, we're all home anyway.
It really doesn't. Whatever it is, I'll be watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
It must be because they're going out of town. Going to Minnesota.
Oh, that could be it.
I just hope, to be honest with you, let's just, we could be talking next week and there may be no games for all we know.
No, you're right.
It's this could spiral really badly. I'm going to be very interested to see these next 3-4 days and how MLB handles this, and what happens is going to be very telling. Because I just don't know what they're going to do. There've already been 2 postponed games tonight, and We'll see what happens.
Any time you put Don Mattingly, Rob Manfred, and Ron DeSantis in the same room, I'm sure they'll come up with something. All right, that'll do it. Another edition of the Dery Brothers Tribecast, brought to you by the Center for Advanced Dentistry. You can find us at waitingfornextyear.com. Todd, go Tribe. This is it's a nice start, and let's keep it going.
Amen, brother. Let's do it.